What is the weather going to do next as we approach the new year? We've had a very active, very wintry, cold start to December for certain areas of the country. Sort of an old school, old-fashioned start to winter. But what's next as we move over the next couple weeks and get closer to New Year's? We're even going to extend this a little bit into January, just a few days or so. We're going to discuss everything. In the next 2 minutes, I want to spend time on what's going on right now with this storm system because it's packing a punch, especially with winds. At the 5-minute mark, we'll dive deep into the pattern leading up to Christmas. And at the 10-minute mark, we'll talk about the period between Christmas and New Year's and move into January. But first, let me show you what's unfolding right now across the Northeast, because this storm is stronger than many people expected. My name is Mitch. Good Friday morning. Hope you're doing awesome out there. If anybody has anything I can pray about or pray over, please drop it in the comments below. Let's start by looking at the water vapor loop. We haven't done this in a while, but if you've been tuning in for a while, you know we used to start every video like this. This indicates how much moisture is in the atmosphere. The whiter colors, that's more moisture. The grayed out colors, that's drier air. You can see a lot of flow screaming across the northern Rockies, the Pacific Northwest, even the central Rockies. If you look really closely, things dramatically drop down. That's our trough digging down, bringing a shot of Arctic air. You can see it's dried out in this area, but in this region, it's more white, more moisture in the atmosphere. If you look at the radar, it shows it well. There's a lot of moisture, a big surge of rain going across New England and the mid-Atlantic. We even had a line of thunderstorms as far south as the Carolinas and Georgia this morning. In fact, we had a severe thunderstorm warning in areas of North Carolina about an hour ago. This is packing a punch, bringing some strong winds with it, and it's taking on that negative tilt that we talk about. Once it begins to tilt in this direction, that means it takes on a negative tilt. When it's tilting the other way, that's a positive tilt. When it starts to get sideways, that's a neutral tilt. When it goes from that neutral to that negative tilt, which is what it is right now, it really begins to get stronger and pack more of a punch as far as high-impact weather. As Psalm 148 verses 7 through 8 remind us, "Praise the Lord from the earth, ye dragons, and all deeps, fire and hail, snow and vapors, stormy wind fulfilling his word." Even these strong winds fulfill his purpose. Looking at the radar, you can see we've got some returns showing. The green here is actually falling in the form of snow. Same thing up here. Even in the Ohio Valley and areas of the Midwest, you can see some light returns. This is falling as snow. But everything up here for the most part is rain. Wind-driven rain. That severe thunderstorm warning is actually still ongoing right now at the time I'm making this video, around 6:45 Eastern Time. Expires at 7 a.m. Looks like the Raleigh-Durham area and surrounding regions are getting hit by a pretty strong to even severe line of storms right now. The middle of the country is pretty quiet. Ridge is already flexing. But this is an aggressive trough. It's not digging down very far south, but it is taking on that negative tilt. We have a high-impact, significant storm system with a shot of Arctic air. As far as all the winds on the way, you can see tons of wind advisories in this tan brownish color. When you get into this dark, almost mustard color, these are high wind warnings. Big windstorm is already beginning right now. It's going to unfold over the next 24 hours. Speaking on how strong these winds can be, this is a predicted max wind gust from the National Weather Service. We're going for 40, 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts, especially as we get out on Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket. This is going to be some very strong winds. Mid-grade tropical storm force winds, kind of equivalent to a nor'easter, but not the same as a nor'easter. This is just a very strong cold front with a storm system associated with it. Low pressure really off the coastline, but strong winds are going to be in the central, northern, even southern Appalachian Mountains. All across the Appalachian Mountains. If you're higher up in elevation, of course winds will be stronger. But just a windy day unfolding across the Northeast and continuing across areas of the Mid-Atlantic this morning. The shot of cold air behind this is quite aggressive. It's not going to last super long, and it's not diving down super far south. But these are current temperatures right now across the upper Midwest. Shot of very Arctic air. It's 10 to as much as 20 degrees below zero across areas of Minnesota. Below zero across areas of North Dakota. Single digits, making their way into areas of Wisconsin, even the upper peninsula of Michigan, down into Iowa. We've got a couple areas around 0 degrees. Then we start to get into the Midwest, where it's modified a little bit, but the cold air is just working in. Temperatures in the teens. But then you make your way across areas of the Carolinas, where ahead of the cold front. Temperatures in the 60s. But a lot of these areas across the mid-Atlantic and eastern U.S. in general, temperatures are actually going to drop throughout the day, especially with the core of the coldest air working through. It's wild. I woke up and it was about 64, 65 degrees at my house here in Columbia, South Carolina. But I'm looking at my weather station right now, it's around 56 degrees. Temperatures have dropped about 10 degrees behind the cold front that just passed through. You can take a look at how cold these temperatures are compared to average. This morning, the Euro ensemble showing 10, 20, as much as 30 degrees above average as far as low temperatures for December 19th standards. But you can see the greens, the blues, even the purple colors making their way through well below average temperatures. Just a shot of cold air makes its way in. This develops into just a regular run-of-the-mill cold front as it makes its way into the northeast. The coldest air doesn't really dig down very far south. It's just a chilly start to your weekend for areas of the eastern U.S. Nothing too crazy. Once you start to get to the south and really even the northeast, it's just very cold for the upper Midwest, Minnesota, the Dakotas, areas of Wisconsin. Now let's talk about what's coming for Christmas and beyond, because the pattern is about to make a dramatic shift. The big story heading into Christmas is warmth. Record-breaking warmth for many areas. This is not what most people want to hear if they're hoping for a white Christmas. High pressure is going to build across the southern and central United States. This pulls warm air northward. We're talking about temperatures 20, 30, even 35 degrees above average in some locations. For Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, many areas that normally would be cold and potentially snowy are instead going to feel like spring. Kansas City could hit the low 70s on Christmas Day. St. Louis might see similar temperatures. Even areas like Chicago could be in the 40s and 50s, very mild for late December. The south and southeast, you're looking at temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Some areas could challenge daily record highs. This warmth is going to melt whatever snow is on the ground for a lot of areas. If you're in the Ohio Valley, the snow you have now probably won't make it to Christmas. The Mid-Atlantic, same story. The areas that will hold on to snow and potentially see a white Christmas, the northern tier. Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, northern New England, and obviously the mountains. The Rockies will have plenty of snow. The Pacific Northwest mountains will continue to see heavy snow from atmospheric rivers, but lower elevations on the west coast just rain. As Ecclesiastes 3:1 tells us, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. This is the season for warmth, apparently, not the season for widespread snow. For those hoping for snow on Christmas, I know this is disappointing, but there is some good news for winter weather lovers. The pattern changes after Christmas. As we move from Christmas into the period between Christmas and New Year's, things get more interesting from a winter weather perspective. That ridge of high pressure that brings the Christmas warmth, it's going to start breaking down. Cold air is going to try to make a comeback. Models are showing potential for storms to develop as we head toward New Year's. The exact timing and placement is still uncertain. We're talking about a week plus out from now. But the pattern favors more active weather. There's potential for a significant storm system somewhere in the eastern half of the country between Christmas and New Year's. Could bring snow to areas that miss out on a white Christmas. The upper Midwest and Great Lakes could see multiple systems. The Northeast might get in on some action too. Even areas further south could see winter weather if the setup is right. The West Coast continues its very active pattern. More atmospheric rivers are forecast. This means more rain for lower elevations, more heavy mountain snow. Flooding concerns continue, especially for areas that have already seen a lot of rain. As we push into early January, just the first few days, that more active winter pattern looks to continue for much of the country. Now let me be specific about timing and what to expect day by day as we head through the next couple weeks. Today, Friday, December 19th, that storm system I talked about at the beginning continues impacting the Northeast through the morning. Strong winds, heavy rain in spots, some snow in higher elevations and interior areas. Behind it, cold air rushes in, temperatures dropping through the day across the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, feeling much colder by evening. Saturday, December 20th. Cold morning across much of the eastern half of the country, but nothing extreme for most areas south of the Great Lakes. Upper Midwest stays very cold with temperatures well below zero in spots. Quiet weather for most of the country. Good day if you have last-minute Christmas shopping or errands to run. Sunday, December 21st, the winter solstice, shortest day of the year. Still quiet weather for most. Cold hangs on across the northern tier, but moderation beginning elsewhere. Monday, December 22nd, warmth starting to build. You'll notice temperatures rising across the central and southern states. The pattern shift is underway. Tuesday, December 23rd, significantly warmer for much of the country. This is when you really start to feel that pattern change. Areas that were cold earlier in the week now seeing temperatures well above average. Wednesday, December 24th, Christmas Eve, the peak of the warmth for many areas. Excellent travel weather if you're heading somewhere for the holidays. Warm, mostly dry for the eastern two-thirds of the country. The West Coast is a different story. Active pattern continues with rain and mountain snow. If you're traveling to California, Washington, Oregon, be prepared for wet conditions. Thursday, December 25th. Christmas Day, warm continues for most. White Christmas limited to far northern areas and mountains. Santa's going to have an easy flight across most of the country. Not much winter weather to navigate, but the elves better have rain gear ready for the West Coast. Friday, December 26th and Saturday, December 27th. Still warm. Pattern beginning to show signs of change. Models hinting at systems developing for late in the weekend or early next week. Sunday, December 28th through Tuesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve. This is where things get interesting and more uncertain. Pattern becoming more active. Cold air trying to make a push southward. Potential for storm systems to develop. Snow possible for multiple regions. Exact details still unknown this far out, but if you have New Year's travel plans, this could be a more complicated travel period than Christmas was. Wednesday, January 1st, New Year's Day through the first few days of January, active pattern continues. Winter weather possible for many areas. Now let me talk about the rest of the country's weather for today, because there's more going on than just that northeastern storm. Pacific Northwest, another atmospheric river event ongoing. Heavy rain, lower elevations, heavy snow, mountains. This pattern just keeps repeating. You're getting hammered out there. Flooding concerns continue, especially in areas that have already been hit hard. Rivers remain high. More rain just adds to the problem. Mountains seeing incredible snow totals. Some locations could see another 3 to 5 feet over the next several days. Ski resorts are loving this, but avalanche danger is extreme in many areas. Northern Rockies, cold and snowy. More snow on the way over the next few days. If you're in Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, winter is definitely here for you. Central Rockies into Colorado, cold shots continuing. Some snow, but not as active as further north. Still, mountain snow adding up nicely. Plains states, quiet today. Cold across the northern plains. Milder further south. Not much happening precipitation-wise. Midwest, cold morning, especially across the upper Midwest. Quiet weather overall. Some lingering snow showers possible around the Great Lakes from lake effect. Mild today, but cold front moving through. Temperatures dropping behind it, though staying relatively mild compared to the north. That line of storms this morning moves offshore. Then quieter weather moves in. Cooler, but not cold. As Job 37 verse 9 through 10 says, "Out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and cold out of the north. By the breath of God frost is given, and the breath of the waters is straightened." We're seeing both. Whirlwind from the storm, cold from the north, warmth from the south. Let me give you more specific forecast details for the Christmas week, because I know that's what a lot of you are most interested in. For snow chances Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, northern Minnesota and Wisconsin could see some light snow from a clipper system. The Dakotas might see something similar. These wouldn't be big storms, just light snow. Northern New England could see some snow showers, especially in higher elevations, but accumulations would be light for most. The Rockies and Pacific Northwest mountains continue their heavy snow. The I-90 corridor could see some snow across Montana into northern Idaho. That's about it for snow chances on Christmas itself. very limited compared to what many people hope for. For temperatures Christmas Day more specifically, I mentioned Kansas City potentially hitting low 70s. Let me expand on that. Minneapolis, mid to upper 30s. Much warmer than average for late December. Chicago, upper 40s to around 50. Detroit, mid 40s. Cleveland, mid 40s. New York City, low 50s. Boston, upper 40s to around 50. Atlanta, mid 70s. Upper 60s to around 70. Dallas, upper 70s to around 80. Low 50s in the city, cold in the mountains with snow. Seattle, low 50s with rain. Los Angeles, upper 60s. Nice but not unusual for Christmas. Phoenix, low 70s. Typical. Miami, low 80s. Standard December weather for South Florida. For the period after Christmas heading toward New Year's, here's what models are showing. The European model is hinting at a storm system developing around December 28th to 29th. Track still very uncertain, could impact anywhere from the southern plains through the Midwest to the Northeast. Depending on exact track and temperatures, this could be rain, snow, or a mix. Too early to pin down details, but something to watch. The GFS model shows a similar time frame for potential storm development. Slightly different in details, but general agreement that the pattern becomes more active. Both models show cold air trying to push back in after Christmas. Not as cold as what we've seen earlier in December, but colder than the Christmas warmth. For early January, both models show an active pattern continuing. Multiple storm systems possible. Cold air in place across much of the country. This suggests January could start off quite wintry for many areas. Much different than the warm Christmas week. Now let me address some specific questions people have been asking. Will we get a New Year's snowstorm? Possibly, but too early to say for sure. The pattern favors storm development in that time frame. Whether it's snow, rain, or mix depends on exact track and temperatures. Check back in a few days for better details. Is the warm Christmas unusual? It's not unprecedented, but it is notable. We do see warm Christmases from time to time. This one looks particularly warm for how widespread it will be. Will the snow we have now melt before Christmas? If you're in the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, or Lower Midwest, yes, probably. If you're in the northern tier or mountains, you'll likely keep your snow. What about lake effect snow? The cold shot today and tomorrow could produce some lake effect for the Great Lakes, but it won't be a major event. The really cold air doesn't stick around long enough. Is there any chance for a white Christmas if I'm not in the far north? Very slim. Your best bet would be if you're in the mountains or higher elevations of New England. Otherwise, chances are basically zero for areas south of the Great Lakes. What about travel weather for Christmas? Excellent for the eastern two-thirds of the country, warm and dry. The west coast will be wet, so plan accordingly if you're heading there. When does winter come back? The pattern shifts after Christmas. Late December into early January looks more wintry, multiple chances for winter weather. As Proverbs 16 verse 9 says, "A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps." We can plan all we want, but ultimately the weather does what it's going to do. Let me also talk about what this means for people in different regions. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, you're tired of the rain. I get it, but this pattern continues through Christmas at least. More atmospheric rivers are coming. Keep monitoring flooding. In the mountains, snow is incredible. Some of the best early season conditions in years. If you're in the northern Rockies and northern plains, winter is here and looks to stay. Multiple cold shots, multiple snow chances. If you like winter, you're getting it. If you're in the Midwest and Great Lakes, it's been an up and down December. Active weather. The Christmas warmth is a break from that, but winter returns after the holiday. More active pattern likely for early January. If you're in the Northeast, similar to the Midwest. Active December, Christmas warmth. Then back to more winter-like pattern after the holiday. If you're in the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic, you had some early December snow and cold. The Christmas warmth melts it. But there could be opportunities for winter weather again as we head into the new year. If you're in the South and Southeast, relatively quiet December for you compared to other areas. The Christmas warmth is pleasant. Early January could bring some interesting weather your way if systems track favorably. If you're in the southern plains, mild December. Christmas, very warm. Potential for storms in the post-Christmas period depending on how systems set up. If you're in the southwest, generally quiet. Some rain and mountain snow possible from systems coming off the Pacific, but nothing too impactful for most lower elevation areas. Now let me give you some practical advice as we head through the next couple weeks. For this weekend, if you're in the Northeast, secure anything that could blow around in the winds today. Power outages are possible in some areas with winds this strong. If you're traveling this weekend, weather shouldn't be a major issue except for that wind in the Northeast today. Roads should be in decent shape for most areas. For Christmas week, excellent travel weather for most. If you're driving long distances, you'll have good conditions. If you're flying, weather delays should be minimal, except possibly on the West Coast. Don't overdress for Christmas. It's going to be warm. That ugly Christmas sweater might be more than you need. For the period after Christmas, stay flexible with travel plans if possible. The pattern becomes more active and uncertain. Weather could impact travel. If you have New Year's Eve plans, keep an eye on the forecast. Conditions could be changing rapidly in that time frame. For early January, winter weather likely returns for many areas. Have your winter gear ready. Make sure your car is prepared for winter conditions. Check your heating system if you haven't already. The post-Christmas cold won't be as intense as early December, but you'll still want adequate heat. Keep emergency supplies on hand. When the pattern is active, conditions can change quickly. Better to be prepared. As we wrap this up, let me summarize the big picture. Right now, storm system impacting Northeast with strong winds and precipitation. Cold air rushing in behind it for the eastern U.S. Very cold upper Midwest. This weekend, quiet for most. Cold in the north, mild elsewhere. Next week, leading to Christmas, significant warm-up. Record warmth possible in many areas. Excellent travel weather for most. West Coast stays active and wet. Christmas Eve and day, warm and mostly dry for eastern two-thirds of country. Limited snow chances only far north and mountains. White Christmas rare this year. After Christmas toward New Year's, pattern shift, more active weather, cold air trying to return, storm systems possible, winter weather chances increase. Early January, active winter pattern for many areas, multiple storm chances, colder than Christmas week. The bottom line, enjoy the Christmas warmth if you like milder weather. But if you're a winter weather enthusiast, don't worry, winter isn't over, it's just taking a holiday break. The pattern after Christmas looks much more favorable for winter weather across a broader area. Be patient. As Isaiah 55 verse 10 through 11 reminds us, "For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void." Both rain and snow serve their purpose in the grand design. Stay tuned for updates over the next few days, especially for that post-Christmas period. The details will become clearer as we get closer. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Drop any prayer requests in the comments. Stay safe and God bless. Until next time.